Hi kids, today we're going to be doing a lesson in math using 10 frames. So remember, whenever you're using 10 frames, you want to make sure if you're using it horizontally or vertically that you make sure to fill up the whole column or the whole row whenever you're using numbers. So let's jump in right into our first activity. So right now I have currently how many of my how many pegs or blue dots do I have currently in my 10 frames? I would have 6. Okay? All right. And then, so if we have a total of 6 and we have 6 blue, I want you to see what happens when I start turning around some of these in my 10 frames. Ooh, now how many blue do I still have? I have 3. And how many red do I still have? Or now have? I have 3. All right? But how many total do I have in this 10 frame? I have 6. All right? So this is going to be an introduction to the lesson we're going to be doing today. And we're going to be using these 10 frames to help us figure out algebraic equations. All right? If you're at home and you don't have these 10 frames, what you can do, if you look in front of me, is create on a piece of paper the 10 different parts here, and then you can have these little foam pieces here that you can create out of cardboard, you can create out of other pieces. Just make sure that you have something that has 2 different colors or 2 different sides, and they can use just the same. So just like our first problem here, if I had a total of 6 pieces on my 10 frame, now if I switch 3 of them again, we still have the same equation where we have 3 that are red, 3 are yellow, but we have a total of 6. So 3 plus 3 equals 6. All right? So that's going to be our lesson. So we're going to jump right into the first activity. You should receive this worksheet from your parent or your teacher. Then this is digitally, you can print it off or you can hand it in digitally. Make sure to write your name at the very top. And we're going to go over the very first problem where it says blank plus 9 equals 15. All right? So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure to take out all our different pegs from our 10 frames. And I want to start thinking about that equation now. If that equation says blank plus 9 equals 15, I want to start thinking about how many total of these dots would I actually need for my 10 frames. All right, so I can actually take this puzzle piece and add them together. If you have the piece of paper, you can draw 2 of those 10 frames on a piece of paper. And let's pull over the equation so we can see it right in front of us. So we have blank plus 9 equals 15. So how many total, if we're thinking about this, how many total pegs or blue dots do we need for our 10 frames? We need 15. So if we're going to put 15 in there, there's 5. $10. $15. All right, so we have a total of 15 in our equation on our 10 frames right here. So we want to know, though, what is the number missing here? So what other piece of information do we know about this equation right now? We know that there's 9. So 9 of these blue dots or pegs plus an unknown number equals 15. So let's count up to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 of those we can say that we can leave blue. But the unknown number or the rest of the pegs can be turned a separate color. So if we're looking at this, we know that 9 of the blue dots are blue, and an unknown number is red. How many dots do I have left over that are now red? There's 6. So we know in that equation that 6 plus 9 equals a total of 15. So that's actually something called a fact family. And we know in our fact family that if we have 6 total red dots, 9 total blue dots, this equals 15. So that's our first fact family, the first equation in our fact family. Now we have a second equation. We're going to use the same 3 numbers because this is a fact family, and we're going to equal the total number of 15. So how else can we write this equation out? Well, we know that 6 plus 9 equals 15. If we reverse this, if we put this equation where we have 9 in the first spot, how many more do we need to equal 15? If we're looking at our 10 frames, we have 9 blue, we have 6 red, we know that 9 plus 6 equals 15. All right? So now we're going to get into subtraction. So now this might be a little bit more tricky, but we're going to work through this problem together. So the first thing you want to do whenever you're working through fact families is always make sure to remember to use the biggest number first in your first section. So out of these 3 numbers, which is the biggest number? It's 15. You're correct. So we'll put 15 first. All right, so we got to make sure that we have 15 total. Blue pegs in our 10 frame. Now, using one of the last 2 numbers, 9 or 6, because it's a fact family, we'll start with 9. So if we have a total of 15, and we take away 9, we're going to switch the colors. There's 3, 4, you can count with me, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so we had 15 to begin with, 5, 10, 15, and we took away 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many left do we have that are still blue? We have 6. I think we're seeing a pattern here. So we have 15 minus 9 equals 6. All right? And then the last problem, or the last equation part of the fact family, again, we got to make sure to remember which number goes here first. It's the biggest number. So we start with 15. Now, we already used 9. So let's say we use the last, what other number should we use? We should use the number 6. All right, so if we know 15 minus 6, all right, if we take our 10 frames again, we can start over with 15 blue, if we have take away 6, or switch over 6 pegs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we started with 15. We switched over 6 of those different pegs to red. How many left are blue? Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're in rows of 5. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So then we know that our last fact family is 9. So there's 4 different equations for the fact family, 6, 9, and 15. We know in addition there's 6 plus 9 equals 15. We know that 9 plus 6 equals 15. But then we also know that 15 minus 9 equals 6. And 15 minus 6 equals 9. So that's the very first problem that we're going to work through. Let's try another fact family together. So in the problem number 2 on your worksheet is blank plus 7 equals 16. So if we're using our 10 frames, how many should we use total on our 10 frames? 16. And how many? And why do we know that? Why do we know to use 16 pegs in our equation? Well, it's because it's part of the word problem, right? We know that it equals 16. That is the end result. Okay? So we know we have 16, 5, 10, 15, 16 total. Now in our equation, 7 of them is blue. So we have 5, 6, 7. So let's turn those. We can turn those a different color too. That's fine. As long as we remember that 7 is red, how many left are the equal 16? So we have 7. And so but we're just going to count out how many are blue. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we know in this equation that we have 9 that are blue plus 7 that are red equals a total of 16. So part of our fact family, the very first one, 9 plus 7 equals 16. All right, and now whenever we're doing addition, again, our largest number in a part of a fact family always goes last. Okay? So if we're looking at these two numbers, if we put 7 here, because this is part of the fact family, you can always use these 3 numbers. 7, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus, how many blue? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 equals 16. So some of you might be catching on to this pattern already. So let's see if we can work together on the subtraction, if you can figure out the last number in part of your fact family. So, what number do we use first whenever we're using subtraction? We use the biggest number. And which is the biggest number out of 7, 9, and 16? It's 16. All right? So since we use the biggest number first, our last 2 numbers of our fact family are 7 or 9. So let's pick one to begin with. Let's choose 9. So again, we have a total of 16. We can switch this all to blue if we want, or we can keep the same 10 frames in front of us. So 16 minus 9. So if we minus 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many left do we have that are red? Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know that 16 minus 9 equals 7. All right, so again, whenever we start our last fact family, we want to start with our biggest number, which is 16. We can't use 9 because we used 9 already, so we'll use the last number, which is 7. So 16 minus 7. Let's count this again. So we started with 16. If we minus 7, we can cut off 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many do we have left over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's all the fact families for 9, 7, and 16 for addition and subtraction. Way to go! So that was the very first problem. First two problems on activity worksheet number 1. If now you're going to work independently on problem number 3. If you have any questions or if you have any concerns, you can certainly reach out to your parent or your family, or your parent and your teacher. And then you're going to work independently to finish problems number 4 and problems number 5. Listen carefully to your educator or your parent too. There's also an extension and intervention activity that you might be asked to do. But that is going to be your first activity that you're going to be doing for using 10 frames. Activity 2 is going to involve word story problems. So you should receive a worksheet similar to this in front of me that you get from your student, your teacher or your parent. And make sure to fill out your name. You could fill it in digitally, or you can print this off as well. So the very first problem that we're going to work, the very first 2 problems together, and then I'm going to allow you to work independently on problems 3, 4, and 5. So let's work over this question together. It says, Henry needs 14 cups for his birthday party next week. Henry already has 6 cups. How many more cups does Henry need for the party? All right, so when we're thinking about this equation, what is the question we need to answer? We need to answer, how many more cups does Henry need for the party? So how many more? So we need to figure out what is the first total that we has for the actual party. So he needs a total of 14 cups, right? Okay, so if we're going to be using our 10 frames again, if we're looking at this equation, if we need 14, we're going to have to put in 14. And you can start with blue or you can start with red, but make sure they're all the same color first. If you don't have these 10 frames at home, again, you can modify by using a piece of paper and cardboard and cut it out too as well. And we're going to put in 14 different pegs of one color. So we have 5, 10, 14. So Henry needs 14 cups total for his birthday party next week. So Henry already has 6 cups. Okay, so if he has 6 cups already, what do we need to do with our blue pegs? We need to switch 6 of them over to a different color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he had a total of 14 cups. He already has 6 cups. How many more cups does Henry need for the party? Okay, so let's count. So if he has 6 cups already, let's count how many more that he needs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that on this equation that he has 6 cups. He has a total of 14. And we know that there are 8 more that he needs for his party. So the answer would be 8. Okay? So let's look at the next equation. Brianna needs to earn 11 stickers to get a pick from her teacher's treasure box. She's already earned 4 stickers. How many more stickers does Brianna need to earn? So let's think about the total, all right? So if we're talking about the total, how many total stickers does Brianna need for her teacher's treasure box? We know it here, so let's reread the question. Brianna needs to earn 11 stickers to get a pick from her teacher's treasure box. She's already earned 4 stickers. How many more stickers does Brianna need to earn? So we know that she needs a total of 11 stickers. So let's look at let's look at the other 2 numbers that are unknown right now. So we know she has 11 stickers to get picked, that she needs 11 stickers to pick from her teacher's treasure box. She's already earned 4 stickers. So we know that the first number, she has 4 stickers. But then we need to know how many more stickers does Brianna need to earn. So 4 plus blank equals 11. So let's go back to our 10 frames. So we have a total of how many stickers? 11. So we can remove these colored pegs. And we know that we already have 4 stickers. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that we have 4 stickers already. How many more do we need to earn? So let's count the remainder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know that 7 is the remainder number of stickers that we need. So the answer is 7 stickers. We have to make sure to write our label to know exactly what does 7 mean. So up here, I forgot to write that down. So how many more cups does Henry need? He needs 8 cups. Got to make sure to remember what that 8 stands for. Okay? And so in here, that's 7 stickers. And that's the very first 2 problems for worksheet number 2. So number 3, I want you to work independently using the same method that we just used to solve problems 1 and 2. Problem 3 says, Simon wants to collect 18 baseball cards. He already has 12 cards. How many more cards does Simon need? Okay? And see if you can figure out that problem. If you have any questions or you have any concerns, you can reach out to your teacher or your parents. But good luck with solving problem worksheet number 2. If you, after you're done with this though, if you have any other extension worksheets that you need to do or intervention worksheets, make sure to listen to your parent and teacher as well. Thanks so much for learning a little bit about 10 frames.